Hi, I'm Tanya Short, the creative director of Kit Fox Games, and I'm going to show you Allegiance today. Allegiance is a massively multiplayer game all about politics. The people going to Mars will have their own friendships, their own relationships, and they'll be mostly due to things like who they're nearby, what they have in common, things they've done together. And I think this is a challenge. What we need to do is build new relationships and new reasons for new kinds of interactions. Social interactions are the most compelling over the long run. If we're going to occupy ourselves for up to a year as we travel to Mars, it's important that we create new kinds of relationships. Now, these relationships aren't necessarily permanent or positive, but over the course of several months, you have a shared experience together. So in Allegiance, everyone is given a loyalty to one of three houses, red, blue, and green. After you sign up for the game, you get a personal credit account with 1,000 credits in it. The game lasts about 3 months, and during those 3 months, you change the structure of your house, you try to maximize your credit gain. The house that acquires the most victory points wins, but each player also has secret bonus objectives. There is 1 week for elections to decide one counselor per house. The remaining 10 weeks are used to win contests, to change allegiances, and to do tasks. Tasks are in a common pool where anyone can post or take any task. They're essentially quests. Tasks posted by players can be literally anything. So you can have tasks that are chores or bribery or any number of things. However, if you're willing to play the political games, you can earn credits quickly through secret objectives. So when you start out, you've only been a group for a week, and you have one counselor. Policy changes can be submitted by council members, and those policy change suggestions must be voted on by all members of the House within 12 hours to decide whether the policy change is implemented or not. Council members can withdraw from the Central House Bank. They can submit those policy changes, they can post publicly on behalf of their house to the Central Allegiance Board, and they designate who will represent the house in the weekly competitions. Taxes are one of the main ways houses gain income. They tax player transactions, competition winnings, and virtually anything. As you can see, the house depends on the activity of their individual members. So it is important for members to perform well in competitions, to complete tasks, and try to earn as many credits as possible. I've intentionally not created rules that are related to how the house handles their communications, how the house handles internal problems, or what kinds of tasks are allowed or not allowed. It's intended that people get creative with the kinds of tasks that they create. The weekly competitions are the largest injections of credits into the economy. They can take several forms. There are contests in which the audience on Earth gets to vote for their favorite. There are tournaments, which are purely skill-based, and collaborations, which are somewhere in between. The purpose of competitions is to create a sense of camaraderie. As an example of the ways policies could be changed to create a different structure, let's say the greenhouse decides to give themselves a crown and have unity is victory as their motto. They could change policies to say they only take 2 hours. Maybe they want to move more quickly. Soon after that, they implement a policy change to make the counselor votes more important. Maybe they want to be ultra efficient with their leadership. So they raise taxes and the counselor renames himself to king, disallows challenges or re-elections. It would look fairly similar to how it was before, but a little bit more leadership-oriented. Whereas the Mars Collective is an example I created, again, using, let's say, the blue house. They could implement policy changes to increase the number of counselors and lower the taxes, but increase the kinds of activities they want to hold by making it someone's duty to hold and organize activities. And even introduce new kinds of taxes or new kinds of incentives to give bonus credits to house members who act in the best interests of the house. I wouldn't be surprised if at least one house tried to make everyone in the house a counselor just to see how it would go. Remembering that players can switch houses and counselors can withdraw from the bank means that I believe just before the end there will be many allegiance changes. At the end, there's a final victory point auction, and the points are totaled up, and everything is made public. Everyone's credit totals are made public, even if they've been turned private by policy changes, and everyone's reset for the next season. Now, if credits are made to be valuable in a real and tangible way, for example, if players can spend it to buy chocolate or upgrade their rooms, this will dramatically change how things play out. I do not think this is a good idea. I think it is extremely risky. However, it would make better watching for the viewers back home. There's also some restrictions in the policy change implementation, most likely. Realistically, we can't allow the policy changes to be anything that anyone could ever dream of, but hopefully we can support most mechanical changes people would want to make. And of course, if there are tennis courts, it's much easier to host a tennis competition, but assuming that everybody has access to a computer, I'm sure many different kinds of competitions can be created. The good thing about Allegiance is that it's pretty cheap to implement. It can be extremely flexible, whether the astronauts are also holding down a full-time job through scientific experiments or whether they are completely idle and have nothing to do but play Allegiance all day. There's enough here to occupy people. Additionally, on a spaceship there are inevitably things that people don't want to do, things that are boring or need to be distributed fairly. The task system allows this to happen organically and contributes to the overall building of relationships between the astronauts. I contemplated allowing Earthlings to join the houses, but I think that it's a much richer experience, much like a prisoner's dilemma, if players must be near each other and deal with the consequences of their actions. And as for concerns about conflict, I think it's actually extremely healthy to have a source of conflict that is arbitrary and just a game. Much like team sports, if a game is approached with the correct attitude and mindset, then competition can actually create much stronger bonds of cooperation. If you're interested in helping me run an online Allegiance campaign, then contact me on Twitter at TanyaXShort or email me at tanya@KidFoxGames. And that's Allegiance. Thank you.